be here.
As Kathy said, I just got out of prison on the 24th of May, and what I'm wearing now are my going home clothes, gift to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, where I was for 6 months, and I was on the first 5 days of the walk from Rock Island to Iowa City, and it was very cathartic after walking in little circles, to be walking in a straight line for all those miles. And also, though I was in very, very good company at Yankton Federal Prison Camp, it was good to be with old friends again and to meet with people along the way and talk about all the things that had been mulling over all those months. One of the things that was hard to go when I went to jail at the end of November was there was a discussion on drones that was just beginning. Now, Kathy and I and Libby and Renee, who's from town here, joined a group of people in the desert in Nevada 4 years ago now, and protested at Creech Air Force Base, which was the only place from which drones were being flown by the U.S. Air Force at that time. And getting this discussion going took a long time and was very hard. And even among our friends, what's the beef with the drones? It's, isn't it better than saturation bombing? As though our poor imaginations can't come up with anything better. And I was watching from a distance. When I was in prison, we got the Des Moines Register, and I was seeing some of the discussion on drones that was burgeoning around the country was happening here in Des Moines, in Iowa, and it was only about drones versus the F-16s that have been here for many years. And people who were against the drones, for our congressional delegation, the governor, no drones, but they were saying F-16s. But some of us here have a history going back with the 132nd Wing, until recently fighter wing, now attack wing. These F-16s fly over Des Moines. In the 1980s, some of us actually got on the runway and stopped them when they were taking off to go to Panama. During 6 times, this wing went to northern Iraq, went to Turkey to fly over the no-fly zones over Iraq. And on the occasions we were arrested at these, we subpoenaed the commander of the base one year. And one thing that was very curious, talking to him, the commander of this F-16 wing, was how little he was aware of what was going on the ground that he was flying over. How little he knew of what was going on, why he was there, just following orders. And he also said kind of wistfully, after he was bragging about the search and rescue kind of stuff the Air National Guard does, he admitted after questioning that really the 132nd doesn't do any of that because the F-16s go so fast, they can't find a lost child. They can't find someone who's wandered away from an old folks' home because they can't see what's going on the ground. And they drop their bombs and they shoot their missiles and they don't see the plume. What's being done now? What will be, the harvest of the reaper? This language is crazy. Of the 132nd, now called an attack wing, is going to be very, very different because the Air National Guard people, our neighbors here in central Iowa, are not going to be going away once every 2 or 3 years to a foreign battlefield. They're going to be on a foreign battlefield 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The drones will be overseas, but they'll be flown from buildings over here at the civilian airport. Many of you saw a couple of weeks ago, I think it was on the Today Show, a young man, Brandon Bryant, who had been a pilot out of Creech, describing the intimacy that the drone pilots have with their victims. Very, very unique. He said that people who shoot mortars don't see what the impact. And one thing he described very hauntingly is a night raid with the drones, and he's sitting in Nevada, and this is in Afghanistan, and he sees in dark, they have infrared cameras, and they just see the temperature. And he said he could make out the features of the man's face from thousands of feet in the air with this wonderful technology. And he was ordered to shoot, and he saw a shattered leg, and he saw the blood spurting out, saw the agony on the man's face, pixel by pixel, he said again, and saw as the blood spread in the sand, changing color, and then it was receding. And as the man died, his body returned came to the ambient temperature of the earth in the air and just disappeared. He said he was haunted by that, and on the 23rd of May, the day before he got out of jail, I saw President Obama on television, and he said he was haunted. He said, we are all in this administration haunted by the civilian deaths. But if you go back a year earlier, John Brennan, speaking for the president, said there were no civilian deaths. Said there were 0. Pressed, he said maybe 1. And later Obama said, oh yeah, but it's in the single digits. And then it comes up to the hundreds, now we hear it's the thousands. And for Brandon Bryant, when he was reporting, talking to the Today Show about this man he saw bleed to death in the desert at night, he didn't mention whether that was a terrorist or insurgent or anything. It really didn't matter. He was watching a human being die. And there's something with the semantics of this. There's a professor of ethics at Annapolis who said we are now in the post-heroic era of warfare, meaning we're no longer having people die fighting on a battlefield and sacrificing their lives for their country, because war more and more is going to be done on a computer screen from thousands of miles away. I think we're also entering into the post-Orwellian era, because we're calling these reapers, we're calling them predators. We're shooting hellfire at friends and enemies far away. And changing the name of this unit from a fighter wing to attack wing. A fight implies 2 parties. When you have a fight, you have opposition, and you have often both sides have a stake. Sometimes who's right and who's wrong is ambiguous. And there are ways that you can get parties together and you can resolve a fight. But they're not fighting anymore. The truth is they haven't fought in a long time. They are attacking. And an attack has only a perpetrator and a victim. And whatever the victim is doing, the attack is unjustified. So this discussion, when I got out of jail, somebody asked me about the president's talk that was the day before I was released and said, weren't you dispirited to have the president defending this the day before I was released? And I said, no, I don't think this was the president's plan to talk. I think he was backed against the wall to have to get on television, and this was not what he wanted to do. And then to hear Medea Benjamin bring some sense and reason into the president's blather was very encouraging. And this reporter also, he was trying to get me to say that I was disappointed about something. Aren't you disappointed? A survey just came out that 65% of the Americans are for drone attacks, support the president's program of drones. And I think that might have been true weeks ago. Day by day, the narrative that this is a safe, clean, scientific way of killing, that our hands are clean, and with this high-tech stuff, we can pick out the bad guys and not hurt the good guys, and our soldiers can go home and play with their kids and sleep in their beds at night. That's all unraveling, story by story, day by day. The day before I got out of prison, 2 days before, the day before the president talked, the New York Times had a headline that said, Debate aside, there's a sharp drop in drone strikes. And at first I saw that, I kind of laughed, and I thought, well, there's nothing more dispiriting than what they're trying to do, than what they're trying to pull off, is to say, yes, there is a drop in the drone strikes, but it's not because people are talking. Don't think that American people, the people of Pakistan, the people of Yemen, people of Great Britain who are speaking out and acting can have any effect on this. There just happens to be a debate, and happens to be that the drone strikes are dropping sharply. No, the drone strikes, there's a sharp drop because of the debate. We have a lot more to do. This debate has only started. And we have a great obligation to that, especially here in Des Moines, where it's going to be happening. The war crimes are not going to be committed by our neighbors going far away. They're going to be committed from a place just a couple of miles from here every day. And the debate is going on. It's saving lives. It is something that our lives and our soul as a country depend greatly on. So I'm glad that you're all here, and glad to be here with the Walkers, and thank you.
Here's an old gospel song with some new words. I have no desire to stay where lies distort and fears dismay, where money talks and fortune frowns. Come help me find some higher ground. Oh, lift me up, let me stand upon some decent, honest land, sweeter soil